It is another Raw video from your favorite YouTube scout, Draft Raw. Yes, I'm finally back, and if you have been following me, I have been doing a 32 for 32 series. That is 32 NFL team drafts for 32 straight days. And in this video, as you can tell by the title, it is about the 49ers. Now, to give y'all a little perspective, I've already done the AFC North and the NFC North. Then I went on and did the NFC East and the AFC East. And now I'm in the NFC West. And I'm going to do the AFC West after that. And then we're going to get to the Southern teams, the NFC and the AFC South. But so, without further ado, let's just get straight into it. For the 49ers in the 2020 NFL Draft, with the very first pick, they selected Javon Kinlaw. Now, let me just say this. If I was to create a big board, right? Jeff Okudah, this is me personally, just me personally, Jeff Okudah was my number one player, right? Okay? Just to put that out there. Javon Kinlaw was actually number 2. Really? Yeah. Javon Kinlaw was my number 2 player in this draft. I just felt so highly of him when it came down to just, you know, the pass rushing ability that he could bring, the size that he brings to the position, the athleticism, the natural quickness that he brings, the ability to be able to stack and shed, the hand usage, the technique. I mean, it's not gonna always be as clean, but you know, he's a very powerful guy that gets really good leverage, and he's big too. You know, 6'5" guys usually shouldn't get leverage like he do. Guys that are like Aaron Donald, the 6'1", 6'2", should get the better leverage, but he, for a 6'5" guy, actually gets really good leverage. Which causes him, you know, get under a guard's pad and be able to push the offensive lineman back to the quarterback. These are the simple things that, and they're not even simple things, but these are the things that he does personally that, to me, made him a better prospect than Derrick Brown. And the only reason Derrick Brown was a higher prospect, there was a couple of reasons, right? Consistency for the years that he played. You know, he's done it. He was the starter for a longer period of time. Then you have a situation with him not being injured. Then you look at, you know, he's probably the best run stuffer in this draft class, period, and brings a special explosiveness. And he wasn't a great pass rusher, but it seemed like he was a smart, instinctive guy that understood things, right? But if I take the certain things out of it, right? And you can't take that away from Derrick Brown. You can't. But I'm looking at this in the perspective of the athleticism that Javon Kinlaw brings, the naturalness that he brings to the position, the versatility, because he's not the type of guy that is just the defensive tackle. I believe that he could actually play out on the edge. I believe he's that good, and he may not be a literal, like, straight up edge guy. Like, we're not talking Von Miller. You know, we're not talking Khalil Mack. We're not talking that type of edge. We're talking Red Bryant type of edge. If you remember him, he played for the Seahawks. We're talking Trevor Pryce, who played for the Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens. Trying to think of another example. It's these certain type of edge guys where they're only edge guys because of the defense the team plays. So if the 49ers, if they was to switch to a 3-4, like DeForest Buckner, the simple as that, DeForest Buckner would be an edge. I mean, that's so if they would switch to a 3-4, Javon Kinlaw play 5 technique. And that's how good I think he is and how versatile I think he is. And I feel, like I said, he was my number 2 player in this draft. So kudos to the 49ers to be able to get him with the 14th overall pick. Now to like really get it going, with the very next pick, and this is kind of weird, the 49ers did not have a lot of picks, but I will talk about a player that y'all did acquire. Y'all know who he is. Y'all acquired him, and we're going to get into it. But with the very next pick in the first round, they decided to select, and they traded up to do this, to select Brandon Ayuk. Now, looking at my notes, what I thought about Brandon Ayuk was that he was a deep threat that stacks really good. And stacking is the ability to be able to get in front of the defender. Is to be able to get in front of the defender and not like you can run away from defenders, but there's a way to get in, like literally get in front of him to make sure that you secure the catch. And if you don't, like, the defender usually will basically have to commit pass interference to be able to stop you from making a big play. And I just want to do this for, best example. This is your corner. This is your receiver. Stacking is being able to have the ability not to run side to side like this, where he's behind him, but he's on the side. But stacking is to go straight in front of the guy, straight in front of the defender, because what they have to do is then try to go over the top of you to stop a big play from happening, or they have to try to trip you up to stop it from happening. And stacking to me is one of the key things that determines how good of a deep threat a player will be in this league. So to me, that's a really, really good pro for Brandon Ayuk. Another thing, though, that was kind of a con was he a body catcher. But I will say this: body catchers are not players that can't play in this league. A lot of players caught with their body, and it's not that bad of a thing. Derek Mason, one of the most constant pros in NFL history, was a body catcher, and he made a lot of big plays. Can make a big play, but not good in traffic, the occasional drop. I think that another con for him is that sometimes he gets to this situation where, like I said, he can make that big play, but when you're counting on him to make a big play in a traffic of players, or if he catches the ball but gets hit, he's going to drop it. That's something that he needs to work on to get better at, because that takes him from being a true number one type of receiver, which he has the ability to be, to just run-of-the-mill deep threat type guy that, he's only good for just one or two things. You know what I mean? It's like the Mike Wallace, Torrey Smith, Deshaun Jackson type situation, where he's only good for pretty much one thing. Another thing is that he's an underrated route runner. And another good pro about him is that he's a return man. So this is not just a player that has to be a starter for your team. He can also be a returner. So it can give you that extra little boost that you need for your special teams. Now, I'm going to talk about the player that y'all required really quick, Trent Williams. With y'all traded a 5th-round pick and I think a 4th-round pick for the 2021 draft. That's a great pickup. Trent Williams has been one of the best tackles in the league for a very, very long time. It's crazy that the situation with him and the Washington Redskins went down like that, but I think that y'all are lucky that Joe Staley didn't really want to play anymore. His body was starting to really take a toll on him, and to be able to get a guy like Trent Williams is just absolutely amazing. And I think that is, to me, I put that in part of the draft. I think it's an absolutely amazing pickup, and he should do wonders for y'all. Next, they went and drafted Colton McKivitz that played for West Virginia. I didn't like his tape that much. Honestly, it's kind of weird to really. I don't know what to say. He was just a guy. He played left tackle, but he needs to switch to guard, because he doesn't really have the feet. He doesn't really have the athleticism. But the problem is that he doesn't block to the second level as well. And what I mean is that when he has to be like a pulling type of offensive lineman, he doesn't get to the second level good as a blocker. I think, straight up blocking, pass block and run block, he's pretty good at it. I mean, he's not bad at it. It's just that in terms of the athleticism and what you kind of need to play in a Kyle Shanahan system as a offensive lineman, maybe Kyle Shanahan has seen something that I don't see, but I don't think he fits as well. So it is what it is, but I really didn't like this pick. Next, they decided to select Georgia tight end Charlie Warner. I think that's how you say his name. Sorry. Dramo. Sorry. He was just a blocking tight end. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He was just a simple blocking tight end. It wasn't like he was some great route runner. It didn't even, most times, when he went out for passes, he was just, I saw him looking straight back at the quarterback. And it seemed like either he just wanted to make a quick play, get the ball in his hands, or he just didn't understand how to really maneuver where you're out running routes. It seemed like it was just a little weird when it came to him. But he's a great, and I would say he's a great and amazing blocking tight end that should be a pretty good sidekick for a guy like a George Kittle. And then last but not least, in the 7th round, y'all decided to select wide receiver from Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. I wasn't a big fan of Jawan Jennings like that, but there was some pros and cons. A con, though, he kind of played slow, which showed up in the 40 time. A pro was that he was a good red zone threat. Another pro was that he looks for yards after the catch. So, being the typical big, slow receiver, you have to make your money doing something extraordinary. And last, he just needed to improve his route running. There was a lot of times where I felt as though his route running wasn't as crisp as it should be. And it wasn't even just that. And maybe it was just the offense of Tennessee, but I just didn't see it. But he does kind of fit maybe what the 49ers do, because I didn't think Deebo Samuel was that great of a route runner. It just seemed like they just kind of put him out there and say, okay, run to this spot. And he would kind of create a route for himself to run to a spot. And not say create a route, but his route running wasn't refined. But the way that they used Deebo was really, really good, and it made sense for them in their offense. And maybe that's what they're going to get with Jawan Jennings. And I know they probably actually wanted Brian Edwards that played with Deebo, from South Carolina. And they probably got the next best thing with Jawan Jennings, because they're kind of similar players in a way, is that they're receivers, but they don't have to be true receivers. They can be guys that you just get the ball in their hands, and they should be able to make a play to get the first down or the touchdown. So anyway, that was the last player in that draft for the 49ers. I thank anybody for watching. If you want to know about future videos or past videos, look in the description box below. Please subscribe. Please share. And please hit that notification bell. And when you hit it, hit all and not personalize. All will give you all of my notifications that pop up. And I just thank you anybody that watches this channel. I've done the NFC. Now I've gone into the NFC West. I am officially done at least half the NFL. So I got about 16 more days to go, including today, obviously. But I thank anybody for watching. And just have a blessed day and stay safe. COVID-19 coronavirus. Goodbye.